Coming at you from Scratchable Studios. That time again, so rage across the internet. It's your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Porter. Sitting across from me is my co-host, Mr. Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody.
And coming in from the far side of the country, we've got our boy CJ.
Audio.
And our girl M.
Hey.
And it is 2025, y'all.
Whoop, whoop. Happy New Year.
Trial some difference, eh?
Whole new year in the matter of, 30 minutes?
I mean, through the Timeverse, correct. However, here we are back, the first full week of January. Trying some new stuff. We're going to see what's up.
All right.
We're going to be experimenting until I find the right thing. It's fine.
That's fine. You got to get the flow.
You can't stop me.
I'm not going to.
I mean, you could edit old ones in.
That's way too much work.
I know you better.
But hey, in the vein of trying new things, if any of y'all listening like any of the stuff that we're trying out, or don't, let us know.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
It will help.
Yes. We've asked for feedback. We always ask for feedback. We don't always get the feedback.
But we always appreciate it.
Or if there's something we haven't talked about and you want to hear about, let us know.
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
I'd love to hear about it. And how do you do that? Well, there's plenty of ways to get a hold of us. You could send us an email over at rageacrosspodcast@gmail.com. Haven't said that in a while. It's always in our show notes, but we haven't said that in a while.
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Right. There is our Facebook, which I know dozens of people still use. It exists.
It exists. There's the 3 or 4 who hit the like every time, and that's nice.
And we appreciate that, and we know there's at least 4 or 5 other people who use the platform, just statistically, right?
Statistically, barely though.
It's like my mother's not on it, but like Danny, maybe yours is.
Yes, she is.
See, there you go.
She's not on our Facebook.
Well, that'd be weird.
Yeah. Well,
actually, wouldn't that be hilarious? as if we posted, our weekly thing, and the first comment is Danny's mom, I love you, sweetie. You're such a super guy. P.S. Will you want to come over for dinner?
And I'll respond, thanks, mom, and then I wasn't talking to you.
Fucking Danny landing a joke. This is a year of miracles.
If I didn't, you were going to.
It was good, though. I'm impressed.
Oh, good times.
But no, obviously, we do have the Facebook. You can drop something off there. You could talk to us directly on Discord. But to get there,
you go right to our website.
You have to go to our website. And you have to go to our forums, which, again, was the other avenue you could use. Right? In our forums, you go to the news and announcement section, and right in there's a link to our Discord. It's the little thing we do to
keep bots away, as well as push you in a direction to make you look at other stuff, other cool shit that's in there.
There's some good stuff on those forums. Not often used, but there's good stuff on those forums.
Yes.
But where is that website?
Well, it's on the internet.
Already. He blew it already.
That is. Yeah. It's Rage Across the Internet.
.com.
There
you go.
It's right there.
It's much better. So yeah, you can drop a thing on the forum. You can go to our Discord, of which, there's a really nice community there you can hang out with.
Oh yeah. I love the community we've built there. We consider all of you guys friends. We love hanging out as much. Maybe you.
It's always someone. Every time.
I was gonna say you could have been one of 5 people you could have picked at that point. But no, I mean it when we say that. We consider Drake and I have actually met in person because of that. I was going to a place for vacation and Drake's
luckily Danny got away.
I was gonna say luckily Drake got away.
That's extra weird. I like yours better.
Oh, but no, I was going to a place and Drake's like, hey, I know where that's at. You want to meet up for lunch? Hell yeah, I do. Drake's an awesome guy.
Sure.
Fun.
But again, yes,
So
our Discord, and we have friends there. Thank you for being in our awesome community.
All right. And hey, if you like what you hear, yeah, this is important. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You could help us out in a myriad of ways because we're extremely needy. First of which is listening, which you're doing right now. So off to a good start. Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Second
Yay.
thing, reviews, thumbs ups and shares and stars, and the more stars so we can make constellations. That's not how this works, but pretend.
The more the better.
The more the better. It helps with algorithm. It helps us show up on people's stuff because we're higher rated, and instead of giving them to the other guy, screw the other guy. It can go to us, and they can listen and join this community and start to love Werewolf too. We need that.
Yes, we
frankly.
do.
And I don't mean just us, because there's a lot of werewolf type product that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I worry about that because I feel it splits the fan base.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Like, I want to get everyone together. And I'm not saying don't go to, but it's not about that.
No, it's not about the different types. It's about bringing everyone together.
Yes.
Instead of splitting them all apart.
Right. So let's all focus in on Werewolf the Apocalypse and focus in on RAI because you have fun with us.
Yes, we are
We're
the
gonna have
glue.
fun. Yeah.
We're the fun glue.
Weird. But those aside, those are the free things you can do. Is word of mouth, is reviews. You know, if you're whatever you're listening to us on, there's a way to star it or thumbs it up or leave a review, and please, that helps a big deal. Listening is a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're in a position, you should check out our Ko-Fi, and that's ko-fi.com/rage across the internet. That is all one word. And it's there you can become a backer. And we have a few tiers for backers, specifically. Each with their own different rewards, our own ways of saying thank you. Be they invitations to our monthly backer hangout night, part of our video game team. Backers are also privy to our post-mortem series, where we dissect previously run games that I have written. This is actually the last year of those post-mortems.
It's kind of sad.
It is a little sad, but that will not be the end
Of that tier.
Right.
We've got plans.
We're not talking about it yet, but we have plans, and I think you're really going to dig what we've got in store for once the postmortems run dry.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have the other tier, which is the Moon Silver, and that's the NPC of the Month Club, where you get an NPC out of my personal character Bible. Every month, I do a revised entry, because, I know this stuff. It's not always written down. And you do different versions and different evolutions. So what you do is I distill it into what I feel is the
Perfect
best,
version.
yes, the best version of that character. And that goes to you. One character a month. So those are the rewards for us to say. This is us saying thank you for donating. So if you're in a position, you should totally check it out. It means a lot to us. It's important. Helps us keep the lights on, keep our dues paid.
Oh yeah,
We wouldn't still be able to do this without.
Right. This is definitely a labor of love. We're putting a lot of extra work and time and effort into this because we enjoy doing it, but it still takes some effort and labor and time and money.
And I mean, you hate to talk about it.
Yeah,
we like to joke about talking about it, which makes it easier.
Just
but there's definitely a lot of stuff that I would love to be able to do with the show if we had the budget.
Right. Agreed.
Yep.
It's where it would go.
And it does. Almost every single bit of it goes back into the show, and occasionally maybe a chunk wouldn't, but everything's going back into the show. So
the point is, if you're in a position, please help us out. It would mean the world to us. And of course, a huge thank you to all of the backers that we already have. You guys are absolutely the best, and you know how much we love you. And if you don't, well, I'll fight you. I don't know. What do you want from me?
I love you so much, I'll fight you to prove it.
I'll punch you in the throat till you believe me. What?
Drake.
Poor guy. I don't know what his problem is. I think Drake's fine.
Hey, Drake's a good guy. I've proven that over and over again.
Not too much. So, hey.
Yes.
You know what we're doing today?
We're going to bullshit some.
Well, we are going to talk about some things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my favorite segment.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of people's favorite segment.
Yeah.
It's This Week in Bullshit.
Yeah. One of those things, we asked for feedback, and we actually got a lot of feedback, more than anything else.
CJ, how would you start us off this week?
Okay. I mean, the biggest thing that I can really point to right now is I recently picked up a copy of Armored Core 6, and I've actually been getting to play it for a while now. That I've been looking for one. I've been wanting to get it, but it's never been. Either something else has been coming out, or I've already spent my budgeted money for games on something else, or just haven't had the time. But I'm finally getting a hold of it, and I did my absolute damnedest to go into this game as blind as I could, because I like the Armored Core series. I like From Software games, and everything that I've heard, this is a game that is right up my fucking alley. So I didn't want to have anything spoiled for me as much as I could avoid it. But specifically, there is one boss that I remember hearing being talked about a lot, about how absolutely insanely difficult they were, and how a lot of people quit the game at it. This is a boss that shows up in the first chapter of the game. If you've seen any of the trailers, it's the robot with the big ring that fires all of the missiles everywhere. Balteus, if you actually look it up. And so I'm going in with this fucking thought process in my head of this is going to be a boss I'm slamming my head against for a while until I finally beat it, but I'm going to try to do it as legitly as possible, not using any cheese strat or overpowered weapons. And I get him down to 25 health my first round through before I die. And then I clear him in my third attempt. And I didn't think he was that difficult, so I went to go look it up to see if, am I just misremembering the boss, or is there, another time that you fight him? And one of the first lines that pops up on Google whenever I looked it up, at some point, he was nerfed. So there was a little bit of, I was feeling this was a fucking great accomplishment. I managed to get through this extremely difficult boss on, my fourth attempt, where I remember somebody who went through it, 14 times before they actually got him.
That's so funny.
I was feeling great, and then, at some point, he got nerfed.
That's a bummer.
It's I wish I didn't read this, and I would feel way more accomplished.
Right.
Now there's a little part of me that's okay, whenever I finish the game, I'm debating just deleting the game and re-downloading it and making sure it doesn't update automatically. So I can try and fight it pre-nerf.
I mean, right. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of that franchise, too.
I've seen you play it a few times.
Yeah, I've played it. I played the new. It didn't resonate with me.
The new one.
Okay.
Yeah, the new one. The changes that From Software made makes it feel not like Armored Core to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Bloodborne with gears.
Weird.
And that's maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but it just took away some of the stuff that I love about Armored Core. It just doesn't feel right.
That's fair. Because I have a pretty good idea. I think I know what you're talking about. Because I've never played it, but again, I watched you play it a few times. So.
Well, you haven't seen me play the new one?
Not the new one, just the franchise in general.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, that would kind of make sense if it is what I'm thinking.
Which just makes me curious, because I have had a limited experience with the Armored Core series. I think the only one that I really got to play a lot of was Armored Core 4, and that was forever ago.
It was.
So this game feels like what I remember Armored Core feeling like myself. So this is where I'm curious where that disconnect's happening. Like,
well, I think it's
I miss.
I think it's the surface. You know, a lot of it is, or might seem like on the surface they're very, but it's the lack of certain parts existing. Okay. You know, you've always unlocked more parts as you go, but I found it to be extremely stingy with that. I don't remember where I was in the story, but I remember I had yet to have the parts to build the suit that I wanted. Now, I don't mean the top of the line suit that I wanted, but just the basics.
Style.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You know, like I don't have my quad yet. I'm running around with whatever they make me take. And it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I can agree with that. They are a little slow on the just parts in general. Well,
and that was a big part of it in the fine tuning. You know, let's just check that booster versus your generator. Let's tweak the FCS and we'll get a cheaper one because I'm not a missile or I'm not a rocket heavy or a missile heavy build. Okay, well, you know, how about the hacking tool in the head? Or, you know, like all of those stats that they used to have, they all meant something and they all did something.
That was pretty much what I was thinking.
And it feels like it's a lot less so now that the tweaking and fine tuning, maybe it's there in the end game, but you have to get me there.
Yeah. I will say there are two different stat screens that they show. There is the simplified stat screen, which is the basic, you know, the loadout, your armor values, your boost, and like your damage. And there is an expanded stat screen that goes into a little bit more of the minutia. But yeah, that is something I can say that I remember from Armored Core 4 being almost overwhelmed at times, just the sheer amount of stuff. But this was also little CJ at the time.
Sure.
So I've been enjoying the simplified process, the simplified version of it, and I've been digging into some of those changes. Like, you know, I recently had to go through a whole fucking overhaul phase because I changed one part of my suit, set it down, came back later, and completely forgot what I changed, and I was immediately over my energy cap.
No.
So I went through fine tuning, and it was like, "Oh, you're over your weight cap now." Shit. And I couldn't remember what part I changed.
Oh. And I totally get that. You know, like I'm saying, I don't think the new one is garbage or anything. It didn't
oversimplified.
It didn't feel like home.
It didn't push all those buttons that you're used to.
Right. It was a little sad because I've waited so long for another Armored Core, only to not get
Armored Core.
Right. I don't want to be insulting to it, right? Because I don't think it's bad. If I wasn't a huge Armored Core fan, I think I would love it. Oh man.
Well, when you have like such an attachment to an old game, it's hard to see like changes they make in new games, even if it's good changes. If some of the things that you loved about it are kind of gone or different, it's kind of hard to be in love with that new game.
Well, it can be. I agree. I agree to an extent. Right, because there is, and like you mentioned, there is good change, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
it would be the equivalent of if instead of Dark Souls 3, they made Bloodborne Dark Souls 3.
Yes, I think that's a great example, CJ, to where Dark Souls and Bloodborne are very similar, but the differences are all the difference.
Yeah, I see it as this is the 6th in the franchise.
No, it's like the 15th.
Right, but like they named it 6, and even though it's got so many others, but like they're trying to get a bigger fan base. They're trying to reach out to a broader fan.
Maybe that's fine. But there's been so many years since the sequels, and that's the thing is, you know, they had a successful run going for years and years and years, and then they did. I think it was For Answer was the last one. I think. I know there was 5, but I think For Answer might have been after that. Either the last one was online only, or meant to be online only.
And I remember 5 wasn't taken very well.
Yeah, it must have been 5 then. Yeah, no, it is 5 because I have a copy of it because I had a buddy who got it too, and he'd come over with his PlayStation.
Wow!
And so we'd play that way.
But like I said, when I say they're reaching out to a broader fan,
no, I know what you're saying.
So they oversimplified it, which doesn't make sense to me. If you're waiting that far into the franchise to oversimplify to get it, you should have made a different game.
I mean, I get what they did. And like I said, I don't necessarily fault them for it. I just...
It'd be one of those things of, like, if they had just called it Armored Core Flyers of Rubicon instead of Armored Core 6, it could be like, okay, this is the soft reboot of the series, or it's a spin-off.
Oh, they even could have just called it Armored Core and did a full reboot. It's like anyone shows up for the story. Mm-hmm. Guess what the story is? There's corporations and they're fighting and you're a mercenary and they send you out. What else? Doesn't matter. Another guy found the mystery secret. He got the power and he's a problem and then the corporation's going to pay to take him down. That's everyone. That's every single one. And it doesn't matter. Get in your mech and have fun and blow shit up. Yes.
I like that.
Love a good mech.
Get in your mech, go blow shit up, have some fun.
Boom. Armored Core.
Which I will say, I've been loving the mecha discussion through Discord recently.
There has been
seen the amount of that.
There has been a lot of mech discussion in Discord, and I kind of love that too. Even though we got to school some of our people about Gundam.
The last one I played was on PlayStation 2 when it first came out. Mech Assault. That's it. And I know it's not even Armored Core. It's just Mech Warriors. But
yeah, it's a different thing.
I know, but like that's the last one I played. It wasn't even the same as this. That's how long. Yeah, I'm that old, guys. PlayStation 2 when it first came out.
It doesn't feel like that's that old, but...
Yeah, that's not that old. I also had a PlayStation 2 when it first came out.
Late 90s.
No.
Might have been like PS1, I think, at that point. Yeah.
PlayStation 1.
Fuck me.
No.
When did PlayStation
Not
2
that old,
2000.
2000.
Okay, yeah. Actually, because I'm almost... Yeah, it was right when it came out then.
PlayStation 1 was 94.
No, it was PlayStation 2, and it was probably early 2000. It's probably right when it came out.
It's probably the Christmas of 2000.
I remember that. It was one of the very first games I got when I got the PlayStation.
Yeah. I just know I worked at Toys R Us when the PS2 came out. That Christmas.
Uh-huh.
That must have been fun.
God, we're so old, dude.
It was kind of neat, right? Because, like, being there, working there, we had dibs. Mm-hmm. I mean, we totally didn't, but your pre-order didn't mean shit. I got mine first. And they used to send me out to escort the people.
I remember that.
Oh, of course. I mean, that just kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
people go crazy on release days.
Yeah, I was one of the people that was chosen to fuck people up if they tried to mess with someone who bought a PS2.
I mean, just watch, make sure they didn't get a touch. That's all.
No, it was take your name tag off. As long as your name tag's off, it doesn't matter. That's a fact.
I know.
Yeah, if you're not wearing the name tag, they can't connect you.
They had me do shit because at that point...
I remember those stories, yeah.
The fun times. Fucking cameras going dark all of a sudden in the section of the store. Porter, we got a shoplifter over here. You got it, buddy.
Take your name tag off.
Yep.
Most of the times, huh? Now you can't even get close to him. You just have to let it go.
It's a guy in a blue shirt. Whatever. Lots of people have blue shirts.
Yeah, despite the changes, I have been enjoying Armored Core. And once again, it's what I remember from the one time that I actually got to play it.
And that's excellent. You know, like, I wish you all of the wellness in that journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, also... I
hope they remake some of those older ones at some point, because I would love to dig into that deeper level now that I've got the experience with this one.
I probably still have a few.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I might need to see if any of them are backwards compatible in the PS5 right now. I might be able to find a digital copy easy enough.
I mean...
Maybe.
Yeah, I found Disgaea.
It's so good. keep that going too.
Yeah. That's currently been the thing, is like if I'm beating my head against something in Armor Core enough, I switch over to Disgaea for a little bit.
Nice. Now, Danny has an announcement he doesn't realize that he has.
Yes.
Correct.
He's super with it.
Tell us about it, Danny.
I don't know about it yet.
I'm going to.
That's not a very good
Daniel Tyson, everybody.
That's not a very good
What?
impression of me.
Impression of who?
What
Checks howdy.
What is my announcement, Porter?
Well, as you guys remember, Danny hit his Halloween journey. And that was fun. That was a fun time for everyone.
Yes, it was.
Maybe not for you at home, but we love it. Fucking, and really, what is this about? And we have mentioned, probably on the postmortems, but possibly during our extended office party that was the month of December.
Yes, a little bit of both.
That Danny is pretty anime ignorant.
You put it like that.
Okay. He's dumb with pop culture. Is that better?
That's not very groovy, Danny.
Thanks for noticing.
I don't know which one you like better.
It's fine.
But he needs an entertainment helmet? I don't know. So, what has happened is we're going to get Danny started on his greater pop culture journey. We're evolving, if you will, like the wild Wendigo who came from Sasquatch somehow. And we're going to expand his movie, anime. I can't get him to read a thing. But I am today sending him home with a copy of Blood, the Last Vampire.
Which we did talk about on the postmortem.
Okay, so that was on the postmortem. Which is chosen because it's pretty good. It's not going to change the world. It's not long. It's not a series. But it's something he'll enjoy. And this is how we do this.
Yeah, because you know me pretty well. Yeah. So I imagine...
So we're going to work this. We're going to work it in. So we're going to start with Blood the Last. He's taking that home today. And he's going to watch it because he can play DVDs again finally.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh. Don't make me loan you a DVD player. It's going to be such a bummer for me.
I mean, if I have to go buy a $12 DVD player, I will.
Okay, good.
Oh, no.
Right, but...
I haven't had a DVD player in like 3 years.
Oh, no. Improving your life with a DVD player.
That doesn't sound very improving. No, actually, I'm just going to have to see if the Xbox still works and plug that back in, since I haven't plugged that in like over 2 years.
Which is he was like, no, it didn't work. I thought, yeah. Anyway. So we're sending him home with Blood Last Vampire. And so next episode, we'll get to hear about that.
Yep, that'll be the thing.
That will be the thing.
The anime journey.
I told you that you had something to talk about. It just was 2.5 hours ago, so you forgot that it happened.
Yep. At this point, a little bit more.
Well, gee willikers, Porter.
I would never, ever say those words.
Which words?
The ones you
I almost got you. You almost did it.
No, not even close.
Everyone listen back. You can hear the G start. You can hear him start to form the G.
G, you're wrong.
Gee willikers.
And what do you have?
Oh, surprisingly, I have something that's not food related today.
That doesn't sound like us.
I know, right? So every Sunday evening, I play D&D with a group of people. And recently, we have been chatting about branching away from D&D every once in a while, and some other people being the storyteller and playing different games. So we've made an agreement that we're going to do a rotation of somebody. The person who normally runs D&D is going to run our normal game. Somebody else is going to run a vampire game. And I'm going to run them a werewolf game.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
none of them have played werewolf before.
Oh, you're starting a whole brand new pack?
Yeah.
More converts.
Yeah. And we actually had it was kind of funny. Last week we had this conversation, werewolf versus vampire, which one's better? And more people voted werewolf than vampire as being better. And I thought it was really funny how everybody agreed that werewolves were stronger than vampires. That was fun. And then I pitched them the idea, because I'm going to run it in the 90s, because I do like this setting quite a bit in the 90s.
Smart.
And how I'm going to make them all play little teeny boppers. And typically this group, we play like pretty overpowered D&D characters. Like it's mostly homebrew, really powerful D&D nonsense. So I was like, nope, I'm going to make you guys play little teeny boppers, little newbie werewolves. And I thought maybe that would kind of like irk them, but they seemed really excited about it. So
I'm
if you're
excited.
listening, guys, I'm looking forward to playing it with you. By the time you hear this, we would have probably already started. But
See, I'm looking forward to hearing about this, too.
Hell yeah.
Also, and I think it goes without saying, like if you, we may have said, you need any help or anything, we're here for you.
oh, for sure. I definitely did recommend them some episodes of the podcast to listen to. The 101s and a few of the other things that they were interested in. I sent them direct links to those episodes.
Oh, excellent. And thanks for listening to M's People. You get to this one eventually.
Yeah, you guys are pretty cool.
Awesome. That's going to be exciting to hear about, like even
cool.
weekly or bi-weekly.
I will add,
I was going to ask.
before we move on,
Yeah.
because this is actually a nice little segue, so we're related. I need you all. I don't need you all, but
Us 4. 3.
no. I'm
2, 1.
Danny likes to
You paused. I waited.
No, you didn't.
see. So in BTA news, I am, I mean, we're not saying anything in detail yet, but I am strongly considering a contest in the near future.
Kind of contest.
Well, a writing contest. Again, I don't want to, because I'm not announcing it. I'm announcing that I am going to
happen.
yes, I'm announcing the eventual announcement of the contest.
Teaser.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. So, those of you, maybe get you with an inclination, maybe get your,
Thinking caps on?
yeah, because I am going to want, well, I mean, we're going to be writing, obviously. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat if the community, if they wanted to get in on it, in terms of some of those little fiction sections in the book?
Okay.
Your Critter Wormfoe and the Death Bears, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not announced yet, but it's announced that I'm planning on announcing it once I know exactly what I'm looking for. So, hey, maybe that's exciting for you. And maybe
Yeah,
you're like,
kind of. I like that idea.
see, maybe you're like, I don't give a shit about BTA. In which case, flip it. Get excited.
Yeah, get excited. And if you don't know what BTA is, maybe go back a little bit and learn a thing.
Slog through our Christmas party.
It was a fun time anyway. You should
It
have
was a
been
fun
there.
month. We just kind of slacked off and did whatever we wanted.
That's kind of what we're doing already.
And we put a real show on. And speaking of, it is time to put on a real show.
Time to put the real show on. All right.
Because we are doing another, I mean, this is a good segment. This Week in Bullshit. People love This Week in Bullshit.
Yep.
But you know what else people love?
The Practical Theurge.
Yes, that's weird that you guessed that.
Oh, I am part of the
Almost
show.
like we had it planned.
Right? It's like he just didn't want me to get to say it.
You asked me. You looked right at me and said it, so I answered you.
Oh. Podcast looking for new co-hosts.
No. Fine. You get to take over editor 2.
No.
No, whoever wants it.
No.
Whoever takes the co-host has to take editor 2.
No.
You realize I'm unemployed, and that's a really bad threat to make.
Oh, shit.
I have nothing.
You're about to get Valence
owned. He'll pay you double what I'm making.
How do you feel about web design?
He'll pay you triple what I'm making.
Website maintenance, perhaps?
Website maintenance.
I've dabbled.
Quadrupled.
Hey.
You know what quadruple of nothing is, though?
4 times what you make.
Nothing times 4.
Is what?
0.
Okay, there you go.
What about praise and admiration? Gosh.
Why? Is that what Danny gets?
If you multiply by 4, maybe.
There you go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the next episode of The Practical Theurge.
Yeah.
That's correct, Daniel-san.
Oh, wow. What a guess.
I know. He's crazy. So, today we are talking spirit relations.
Okay.
Now, from the tribal totem to the pack totem to the pigeon gaffling in the park, your local Theurge is going to deal with some spirits more than once.
Yes.
And in many cases, this can be a really good thing. But how does one handle building a relationship with spirits? Well, that's what we're here to talk about.
I mean, it's 50% forever.
I knew it. I was resisting.
It's half of just like you would build a relationship with anybody else, but it's also the other half of they're not just anybody else, because you have to go in the world they live in, and you have to go on their reality for it to make sense to them.
I mean, this is true. I mean, you obviously you do need to be able to go under the terms under the Umbra. Spirit speech is. It's important to know or to factor what type of spirit you're dealing with, not only in terms of, you know, be it an elemental spirit or an pit, you know, but are we talking about a gaffling? Are we talking about a jagling? Are we, you know, what level of spirit? Certainly you're not going to speak to your pack totem the same way you would the squirrel in the park.
Right.
And you form like pacts and deals with the spirits every day. Not literally, but a guru out there is forming a pact or a deal with the spirit.
Yeah, certainly
somewhere.
Is. Yeah. And that's
You're going on quest for them.
Absolutely. Now, I think we start with the basics. We've talked about summoning, and we've talked about how to approach a spirit in terms of speaking with them. We have briefly talked about chiminage. And I think first contact and expectation are things we should factor in and take a look at in terms of the basics.
Okay.
Now, what is chiminage?
Well, it's kind of like a offering. It's like a physical offering to give, to show.
It doesn't have to be physical.
No, it doesn't have to be. But I see it as like as an offering to show respect to that spirit before even making the relationship, before even starting that pact.
Well, you do want to get your best foot forward, certainly. And as CJ pointed out, it doesn't just have to be physical. You know, we have Gnostic offerings.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect to that spirit.
Yep.
It's a gift or a bribe, if you will.
And depending on your tribe or your point of view, gift or bribe, those are very different things.
Or the same.
But that's all important. Perhaps we should start with what that is. And the best way to choose that, right, is to look at the type of spirit you are going to be dealing with.
Right.
What can you offer that spirit to show it that you respect it?
Exactly. And let's also look at a location and environment.
Those are important.
Now, something I am going to bring up later, so I can mention it now, is in Umbra 20. There's the section that deals with 3 different examples of dealing with spirits from both the spirit's perspective and the Gyru's perspective. I cannot stress enough how interesting this is, and you should check it out, because it's 3 very different types of spirits and 6 very different perspectives on the interaction.
Right.
But one of them deals with cockroach. or a cockroach, not capital C.
I think that's important too to remember because they're different,
right? The level of spirit. Yeah. But, and I think for a good example is things were laid out and the spirit was summoned. Mm-hmm. Right?
Uh-huh.
Terms were discussed with the spirit. There was a problem with, I believe it was local mice. I believe it was mice.
Okay.
A territorial issue. It's been a while since I looked at it. You would think it would have brushed up. It's fine. So I'm using the easy example. There it is. And an offering was made. I believe it was old Chinese food.
In garbage bags or something?
It was all laid out like a little feast.
Uh-huh.
So I would give an offer to do something different, something like an old beer bottle with a little something in that. A little leftover, which, by the way, is used as an old trap for cockroaches.
I remember.
Because they're attracted to the beer and they'll crawl in the bottle and get stuck. But that's the kind of thing, right? That, or the same way that peanut butter is more effective for mice than cheese.
Uh-huh.
So why you're going to go, well, but the cartoon says use the wheel of cheese. But it's peanut butter. I was going to go further with that mouse. But more to my actual point here, is that you want to consider what that spirit is in terms, if it's a bird spirit, well, show bird seed. But can we be more specific?
Sure.
Is there a particular grub or something that might make a better offering?
Something, yeah.
A little bit of
maybe
homework.
Some freshly picked berries.
Perhaps, yeah. But maybe the spirit in question doesn't like those berries. So it's where doing some of your homework is important.
Maybe even like little pre-built nest for them.
Or going with birds a little bit more, cardinals. They're often found, the little red birds, they're often found, looking in mirrors or reflective surfaces. An offering you could make is appeal to that vanity. Just start repping cardinal stuff from whatever sports team you can get and just show up looking like it's #1 fan.
Maybe get a little mirror for it, from a Barbie dream house or something. Could offer to put it in. No, you could offer to put it in a nest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or somewhere safe so it could admire its beauty at any point it wants.
Or break the mirror off of a car and force it inward so it can build a little nest and have the mirror right there.
Also true. But there's the,
different possibilities.
Right, and I like that. I like that vanity angle because, again, we want to talk about the personality of the spirit.
Uh-huh.
And you don't, how do you know that? Well, I think what's important is that some of these, you just kind of have to go with the societal acceptance of what it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I could bring something up. Let's do an example.
Okay.
All right. I want to do something that's not too simple. Give me a second here. The first thing in my mind is owl, but that's not a challenge. That's not a fucking exercise. That's a gimme.
Yeah.
But you sticking with birds, though?
No. Just owls was in my heart.
Okay.
While you think, though, I have something. Deciding your shimmerage. The nice thing about werewolf being set in kind of our world, we're familiar with some of these different animals that the spirits are based off of. So you can kind of use your own experiences to think of these shimmerages or what they could be related to or represent.
No, you're absolutely right. And more to the point, you could also, because again, we are in a simulacrum of our own world, you could go look a thing up.
Uh-huh.
If you're playing D&D, fucking, I need to know the favorite food of the unicorn.
You can't look that up.
Well, I guess I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I gotta go find one or find the wizard of the grass and then bribe him. Fucking, I can just go to the library and buy a book on birds.
Or, it might be that, what's the favorite food of a unicorn? It might be in a D&D book somewhere. But at the same time, now you have to figure out, okay, how am I using that meta knowledge?
But that's my point.
That's the nice thing about werewolf. It's you said, a simulacrum of our own world. You can use your own experience. You can do a quick Google. Oh crap! What do these things eat? And figure out how you know that.
So you Theurge players, you have outs here.
Oh yeah.
if your game's pre-internet, there's still libraries and pet stores and shit. You know?
Yeah.
Go to the pet store.
No, like,
quick, what is this
Yeah,
mouse?
why not?
What does this snake eat?
no, but is that so far-fetched? Hey, I have a Great Dane at home that I'm watching from a friend, and he's very temperamental. Is there something in particular that Great Danes are known for really enjoying?
And the person there would be able to tell you.
Or they wouldn't. They'd be like, Great Dane?
You could even call a vet office. Like, use the phone, look them up in the yellow pages, call the vet's office and go, hey, my toucan is having some trouble. How can I make it happy? What's some things that toucans like to get them out of his depression? Boom.
Exactly.
Call him Sam.
I hope you follow your nose to hell.
What's it called? You need to interact with a bear spirit. Talk to a local park ranger. Hey, which bears? Fish versus berries. Which ones you gotta play dead around, or you gotta make yourself look big? You know, plenty of places to get that information.
Exactly.
Or you can just start a fire.
Well, that would be a fire spirit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but the bear's going to come up and tell you shouldn't have fire there. Put the fire out incorrectly.
Bear.
That's how you do it. You stomp out the fire incorrectly.
Oh, Danny.
Buddy.
I'm wailing. I apologize. We're supposed to be more professional. I got it. All right, I'm done.
So... Okay. So, but we be going on beyond that, right? Like, yes, you have theoretically the opportunity, at least in your downtime, to look that sort of thing up as a character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, yes, also player, but look, just fucking right.
Go with the premise.
Yeah. But there's also what we as a society perceive. So, if I were to say, "Hey, what do you know? What attributes would you assign to a crocodile or an alligator?" Because they're the same thing, and I won't hear anything different. That's gonna just stab at M all day.
Actually.
Cut it.
Yep. Saving that for later.
Actually.
Yeah, I already said I'm saving it.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a couple different takes.
Oh, okay. No, seriously though, if what would we attribute to that particular animal?
Sharp teeth.
Maybe
A little slower.
Patience.
Oh.
They're usually very patient predators.
Yeah, big time.
But they're quick to attack.
Keep going. No, keep going, guys. Like, what kind of temperament would a crocodile have? Do you think, or an alligator?
Yeah. I could see it being like the whole. It is the slow to anger, but once it reaches that point, all hell's can let loose. This would be a thing that if you're interacting with the spirit of it, similar to like Owl in the whole like too many words, it has a bit more patience, but as soon as you reach its limit,
look out.
Yeah, something's happening. Something big. Something potentially as lethal as a death roll.
Yeah, crocodiles are generally pretty aggressive.
Being the predators they are, and being the type of animal they are, especially for temperament, food is always going to work for them. Like, I've seen alligators, like, in my own experience, where you'll throw, like, you have an actual alligator park not too far away from where I live. And one of the things is you buy, like, uncooked chickens, and if you throw it out on the bank, there's about 1 to 2 minute wait at the most before an alligator comes up and just snatches it. Some of them will catch it out of the air.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
They're that kind of predator that if there is food, they're going for it immediately.
And they would rather avoid people rather than confront them. So they're not going to like attack unless provoked. That is, with people.
Well, so let's unpack all of that.
All
right?
them teeth and no toothbrush.
I knew it, and I shouldn't have. I should have picked something else.
I hate Adam Sandler. It's
So
fine.
do I. God damn it. That guy. No, so let's take all that, and so what do we expect that spirit to be like in interactions? I think, right, judging from this, and there's not like a right or wrong answer. If it's written somewhere that alligator acts like this and crocodile acts like this, right, then you got me, and fine, go with that. But, again, they're not necessarily all that way. There are different aspects. There's a level of bullshit I'm talking right there. But
I mean, there are different species and they all live in different environments, and that can impact their behaviors.
right, and spirits are different. And again, this is especially true as we go up the hierarchy more, because your gaffling is essentially just the animal.
Uh-huh.
You can use spirit speech and speak with that, but it's still an idiot.
Uh-huh.
I think it would be
When you just bring it enough food, it's gonna usually do what you want.
right. You're going to have to treat that like your buddy's toddler. We can be mean to it. You don't want to be mean to the spirit anyway, right? But you're not going to talk about Faulkner with the fucking 4-year-old,
All right.
right? You're not going to have an in-depth discussion of fucking the Godfather trilogy with a 4-year-old. He'll talk about how dogs are brown and did you see a stranger?
Yep. Did they have candy?
And this goes to level of expectation of communication. And when you get to something like a juggling, yeah, there will be differences because those are more individual in terms of spirit. But so going back to that, to the gator or croc example, of course I would.
Uh-huh.
I would expect something patient to a point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like CJ said.
Yeah.
Once you pass that point,
Then it becomes a problem. Yeah. I also expect a deceptive level of laziness.
I can agree on that.
I get that image of the nose and the just sticking out of the water and slowly taking our time. Okay. It's not the one that you've made me mad, and so I'm instantly, like aggressive as they may be, right? Instantly just attacking. But I'm going to wait until you're not looking.
Yeah.
We've crossed the line, so the shit is happening.
Yep, but you don't know what's happening.
I've seen something like this actually in real life. Where, once again, that alligator park, they occasionally have deer that get in there, and hey, it's one of those things of, hey, it's a free meal for them, and we have deer everywhere. They're like fucking rats.
They absolutely are.
But you can see occasional moments where an alligator is just sitting up on the bank, and you watch it just slide into the water. It doesn't look like it's doing anything. It just looks like it's like, okay, I'm not holding myself up anymore. Just slides right into the water. And then in like 3 seconds, it's across the river and hopping almost fully out of the water to grab the deer.
That's amazing.
That is awesome. And so, like, for me, and again, we're just talking here, right? Is I would expect, and I don't want to use a parallel here to The Last Airbender, is Ko the Face Stealer.
Okay.
Huh.
How that interaction, and I mean, it's not a 1-for-1, obviously, but insofar as how that whole interaction is going on while Ko is waiting or is just trying to take opportunities to force an expression onto Aang.
And he's doing everything he can to try to provoke him.
Right.
Not like actually physically provoking him, just like jumping in his face, occasionally dropping a line.
Right. And then to switch this over back to our temporary chosen example, is that this spirit would be constantly looking for a moment to strike. Well, again,
It's the spirit you do not turn your back on.
right, playing lazy and sluggish, playing it, waiting for the moment. Like, even in the good graces of this spirit, you should watch your ass.
I like it.
And again, this is just one example I pulled directly from nowhere, right?
And you know what, Porter?
Yes,
You
sir.
got another little angle that you could add to this even more. Thanks to, like, the influence from, like, the Crocodile Hunter and stuff in media. You can imagine these things, like, are, it's just waiting for that moment. It's waiting for that moment to strike, and I can imagine the Theurge playing the little cat and mouse game with this thing as it's going through that conversation. You keep presenting it moments. It doesn't take them because it doesn't know it's right. It knows it's a trap, but you have to. You could try and get it to make one of these attacks, make one of these attempts to ultimately pin it. Get its mouth closed, get your weight on top of it, and hold it down. And now it becomes less of the, hey, I want you to do this for me. Here's what I have to offer, and it becomes that game of this constant negotiation until you finally get into that different position. It's like, okay, are we agreed? Are you going to fight me anymore for this? And getting that sort of moment of respect, similar to in the Lupus episode where the wolf has to look at its prey before it chases it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to make that eye contact, and the prey has to run before the wolf chases after it. I can imagine this is how you kind of finish that interaction with it. The deal's almost made. You've just about got it. Now you have to try and get the alligator to slip up, so you can get into that position where you've got your mouth around its jaws, because they can't open it once they've closed if you hold them down.
I knew that. All the power is in the snap down.
Yep. Yeah, they have
anyone can just fucking...
I don't remember the number, but it was
50.
It was probably closer to 50-something muscles in the jaw to close down, but only 5 in the muscles to open it up.
Yeah, you just go hold them.
Yeah.
But there you go. And I'm glad you bring that up, because again, this goes back to building those relationships, right? Mm-hmm. Because that is a very different type of relationship you're forming with that spirit by got your nose versus here's a
meal.
Here's an offering of chicken
and gnosis.
I was going to say waffles. I wasn't.
Yeah, you could also go about it completely differently.
Well, exactly. In the how also matters.
Yeah.
The temperament of the spirit matters, and how that continues to build. So let's say that first time you hold that nose down, you do it and I'll fucking let you go, asshole. And then next time you deal with this spirit, and it doesn't have to be the same spirit, right? But for this, the idea is building those relationships. So you're seeking the same spirit
out. So you want it to be the same one.
Right. Of course he remembers you. And now maybe he's more or less inclined to do favors for you based on that first encounter.
Uh-huh.
So you have to keep that kind of thing in mind. Maybe this is when you come
in with the extra big offering of let's not have a repeat of that. Can we work together? Here's it being beneficial for you.
Certainly, but that can also lead to other areas, such as a spirit quest.
Okay.
Right? When you fuck up with a spirit, a few things happen.
Loss of respect.
Sure.
Loss of integrity.
Okay.
Well, if you fuck up with that spirit, the entire brood,
exactly.
The family, I guess that spirit is within, knows about your fuck up.
Yep.
You don't have this reputation only with that one spirit, but now all the spirits within that spirit's family know about it.
That is a big one.
Yeah.
And let's
remember the potential for stuff like minor curses. Fuck up bad enough against the spirit of a more abstract concept. Well, congratulations. You suffer a penalty to do damage, to do harm, or you can't finish a beer.
Oh, well, good one. We'll go back to that example in a minute. Thanks, buddy.
And if you fuck up bad enough, you could even lose some renown within the nation.
Absolutely. It's also worth noting, and this is like a minor addendum on top of these solid fucking examples, is that if you piss off a coyote, or an avatar of coyote, or you upset your pack totem coyote, all versions of coyote know about that.
I was going to say most of the
Capital C is aware of what you can't fuck over Gaffling Coyote and then go to capital C Coyote and go, we beseech you for your help. Get fucked, wolf. I saw you punch one of my children. You called it over, held a stake out, and when it opened its mouth, you punched it. Fuck off forever.
No, it's not like you played a joke. It's not like you played a prank. No, you just fucking eat and switch into a punch.
Who is that asshole, by the way?
Fuck off.
Oh, guy deserves it.
That punches a coyote?
Right? Here's a steak, buddy. Psh, psych. Fuck you.
I don't know if anyone's ever been close enough to actually punch a coyote, though.
Plenty of people have been close enough to punch
I'm,
a coyote.
I'm just saying, but like, if they're that close, they're probably not being a dick to you, because...
I've heard about somebody trying to box with a kangaroo. Of course somebody's trying to punch a coyote.
It's an amazing way to get murdered.
Right?
Yes, it is.
Just saying that they're not... Yeah,
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Leaving it.
But no, I mean, those were all solid examples. And the brood was the one I was really looking for. Because, yeah, your fuck up with the spirit is not a one-for-one thing. There are spirit networks. There's a hierarchy. And everyone knows what you did. And sometimes that's worse than you think.
Depending on the hierarchy, yeah, it can be.
A great example, looking at broods, and this is one that I was going to do with a chronicle that I never ran. So it's none of them going to show up with the postmortems.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe brief in discussion of what... That's not the point. But it's, was... This pack was going to mess... My plan was going to mess with Lion. And give Lion illusions of returning to the fold as a totem.
Oh.
Like his own... Coming back on his own. You can do it, buddy. We can bring back the White Howlers. What do you say? 1, 2, hip, hip. Right? And eventually convince... Lion to try to do that. Successful, not. The minutia of that, not important right now. What is important is that Lion is part of Griffin's brood.
Yeah.
And Griffin is the tribal totem of the Red Talons. So what does that mean? That means everyone in that brood is now hostile to that pack for having stolen from Griffin. Also, the entire tribe of the Red Talons is after this pack for having stolen from Griffin.
Yeah.
Go ahead, CJ.
Oh, it's one of those things where even if it didn't work, even if you just made the attempt, congratulations, you have kind of soured your relationship with any Red Talon.
Right.
At least first impressions.
I mean, to bring it around to, I don't think anyone has a problem with this concept, but it's a little like trying to bang your buddy's girlfriend. Did you succeed? Does not matter.
Nope. The fact that you even tried.
There is hurt in your future and you deserve all of it. Don't do that. Fucking stay loyal to your people. But so how do you make that right? Well, in that extreme circumstance, you probably don't.
Not with the girlfriend, no.
But, things like spirit quests and atonement are real. Now, whether that involves summoning the spirit and begging for forgiveness and asking for what can we do to make things right with you, that's a possibility. It could be dangerous based on the type of spirit and how bad you fucked up.
I can see that.
Maybe you want to go higher up that totem pole in that case. Now, certainly, right? The spirit of the crane that you pissed off, or better yet, the spirit of grain that you pissed off. Her eyes are up here and she's very upset that you couldn't fix that. But maybe she's so mad at you that she won't respond to summons. Or if she does, she's openly hostile. But you know what? That's part of Stag's brood. And maybe Stag will be more reasonable when you approach him who has not been offended firsthand. And you say, I would like to make things okay.
Okay, because then Stag can say, look.
Stag might tell you to get fucked. But hopefully that's not... Storyteller don't do that. You let yes and.
Storyteller, yeah. Get fucked.
You're not out here to punish your players. You're out here to give them a good time.
Exactly. So don't be cool, but give them a chance. But make it...
Yeah, let them piss off the spirit, but then give them a chance to make up to it if they can come up with a reasonable plan. Exactly.
And now how would you make amends with the spirit of grain? Perhaps it's to find rare variants, offer a gift from all over the world, or perhaps uncover some spices that will go well with various related products.
Depending on the severity, if it's something fairly minor, congratulations, you just have a week-long hangover. Did you learn your lesson?
Certainly could. And actually, this goes back to, since you brought up grain, point of fact, we go back to temperament for a second, because no two spirit is alike. And I like the example of with grain, and I like Snow Queen. Both are largely beautiful women.
Yes.
Okay, that's how they've been described. Grain is particularly well endowed.
Her eyes are up here, not down there.
Snow Queen is particularly vain.
Uh-huh.
Now, I've always liked to, there's the correlation there, but I've always used Shiva from the Final Fantasy The Summon.
Okay.
Is my correlation. And I've always liked the one from Final Fantasy VII. That is specifically, update the fucking graphics, right? Add a couple more polygons. But that's always been my go-to default image of Snow Queen. Now, if you flirt with Grain, you're probably going to piss her off.
Uh-huh.
Right? Mm-hmm. Again, my eyes are up here. She doesn't appreciate the wandering eye. She is hospitable and kind as long as Snow Queen is cold and very formal, but flattery will get you everywhere.
I was going to say, but if you're going to flatter her, then it's not so bad.
And it's knowing these differences, and you get them again from our collective human perception of a thing. You can get them from folklore. And ultimately, the right answer is going to be what's in the storyteller's heart or what's written in a book. Mm-hmm. But you can use these as guidelines and in clues as to how to make your interactions with the spirit meaningful. And in that, again, repeating this, suddenly you have spirit allies to a pack. Because, we've dealt with this spirit for years. Perhaps that gaffling, because of those interactions, turns into a jagling. Or perhaps, maybe more accurately, that jagling becomes a bit of a greater jagling. A Kohojek situation, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Gets a name.
Yeah,
at that point.
It's a name, which means it's kind of a bigger deal. But I've even been doing it that way, too. Because why would Kohojek have all these fancy clothes and like fancy moves even? Wow. Style and rhythm kind of thing. Yeah, it's flattery. Mm-hmm. Because he is, I don't want to say self-indulgent, but maybe he is a little self-indulgent to himself. So get that relationship up with him like, hey, yeah, that's cool, dude. I know what you're doing, and I like it.
Well, it's a good point. And let's not forget that the more the word gets out, the more known a spirit is, the more powerful it is.
Right.
I submit to you, and something I never hear people talk about is, well, and I guess in a way it is people have complained. I've heard people complain, like, I hate the Wendigo and the Ectena. I'm glad that an edition changed the name because they're the only tribes that were named after their totems. I said for the Geta Fenris, but that's that's different.
Right.
Right. But I submit to you that those are the only tribes that had different totems in the beginning.
True.
The Wendigo served Sasquatch.
Uh-huh.
So maybe during that crossing of the Bering Strait, when Wendigo came a slithering up, not evolving through the ice stone or fucking whatever. Sorry, Professor Oak. Maybe Wendigo is part of the deal. Said, you will call yourselves after me, you will name yourselves after me, so that my name will always ring out and all will know who you serve.
I kind of love that.
Right? And again, the same with the Ectena.
Yeah. It's very easily be the same.
You have the case of the more well-known a spirit is, the more powerful it is. But I can also see the more accomplishments and the more deeds associated with the spirit, it also help boost its power and reputation, because now anytime a Wendigo goes out and does anything important, it's always going to be so-and-so of the Wendigo, or a Wendigo did this once.
Yup.
I like that.
It shows the tribe's reverence for their...
Well, it shows the tribe's reverence, but it also shows the totem not having to do much, but still getting credit for everything his children does.
Yeah, taking recognition.
Which I will argue was all the more important when these were two totems that showed up late to the party to collect their tribes, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hidden. And I want to thank Phoenix out there for, like, I kind of re-bringing this to my attention. I want to give credit to the man. That, again, you got to read between the lines. You got to look for it. But the Octena's original totem was Raven.
I forgot about that.
It was previous to Raven pissing off Helios and turning black.
Right.
It was a great white bird.
It was like, yeah.
I remember that.
So you have all these tribes with totems with all this power already. So, of course, being the new kids on the Jesus, you know, you want to show that you have the right stuff. And you want to make sure that name rings out to increase your power, to kind of catch up, if you will.
Right, you got to step by step.
That's right.
And even with, like, the Ghetto Fenris, it's, if I remember correctly, it's almost a direct translation to, like, the children of Fenris. Again, there's a totem that's getting a power boost every time you mention something one of their kids do.
That's true, but I think that's more just raging hard on devotion.
A little bit, yes.
It is. But once again, it's like right there. Here's another example of a spirit who's also getting a little bit more powerful just for Garu existing named after them.
So there you go.
It's probably part of the deal.
Sure. I didn't mean to break into totem time, but I think it's a great example, and especially with those two, because again, why are those the only two that, because Get of Fenris is a little, that's honorific. That's not just, you know, they're not called the Fenris.
Homage.
Yeah. And isn't a coincidence, but the two tribes are named only by their totem, are the two tribes that were not originally with those totems.
Yes.
So they clearly weren't called that originally, right?
So yeah, but what were they called at that point?
Called the Turtles.
Exactly. But they always had turtle. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The Croton always had turtle. You know, perhaps the Sasquatch were the, I don't know, the Earthwalkers. Or, you know, the...
If I'm remembering correctly, at least in the Uctina book, they just referred to themselves as younger brother, older brother, and middle brother.
Yeah, but they only call each other that. Yeah, and those are just the three names that they call each other. The pure ones.
But even then, the question becomes, what were they before? And it doesn't matter. This does not matter for the purposes of this conversation. But out of curiosity, what were they before? They were...
Right.
Certainly they were called something, not just...
They only interacted with each other, right?
For the most part.
But I mean, maybe it was a gargoyle scenario. They just call themselves Pal. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, we don't know.
All that happened, they became Wendigo and Uctina before the Wormcomers.
It was sometime
but also
the crossing or after the crossing to the Barren Strait.
True, but then they were also called something before they made the crossing.
Right.
Who knows? It was too long ago. We don't know. Again, the least important part of this. But no, those are conversations for that's a different show.
Right.
That's a different day, and that's an exciting day, don't get me wrong. Because, you know, I love my unknown fucking unsung Garu history you have to fucking dig through and
read between the lines.
Right. You got to hunt for. Fuck yeah, secret lore. But
I agree. But when we're talking about their importance and why, it makes sense.
Right. It's the same way that Koho-Jack is flashy. And, you know, it's the same way that as you continue to deal with the spirit, a singular spirit, you know, that mouse that you got information from the one day, maybe, you know, with the little patch in his white ear, or, you know, the white paw, you know, maybe you call him Paws. Every time you encounter, you summon him again. You seek him out, and you call him Paw, and then suddenly that Jagling is a bit of a greater Jagling, and he's answering to Paws as a name now.
I like that. Okay, I like that.
It's one of those things of, like, even unconsciously, we've been doing it with Koho-Jack. Like, I think we've only ever mentioned, like, whenever we've told somebody about our totem, whenever we've talked about our totem or summoning our totem,
we just say salmon.
We've only ever said, like, salmon once. Every other time it's just Coho Jack.
Yep.
Because that's his name. And we don't shorten it. You're giving him that full respect of his name, even if it's not, like, a conscious effort. That's something to consider for a Theurge, especially whenever you're dealing with that level of respect and that level of importance. If it's got a name, you need to use it.
And then what happens when the next time you summon him, and he's like, the Everman Sandman, or whatever, is the best I had off the top of the head.
It's fine,
he gives himself a little nickname, right?
You're going to start using it too.
The Everman Salman, yeah. You're going to start using it too. Why? Well, because he just kind of told you he wanted you to without
saying so many words.
Yeah, but at the same time, Coho Jack doesn't mean anything to most people. So if he adds that, the same way that when we started the fucking show, we were Rage Across the Internet, a Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast.
Right.
Because what the fuck is Rage Across the Internet when we're starting our Google history?
Right.
It needs to say the name of the game. He needs to say the name of what he is, so people will associate salmon with Coho Jack instantly, even though, again, those are two types of salmon, and I'm super clever for coming up with that name.
Yes, you are.
It took a while to do. Never a little credit for that.
No, you definitely deserve a lot of credit for that one, because that was snuck by a whole lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Christ, Porter, you could have called him Jeff and no one would have cared. It'd have been fine.
Or just Sal.
Ring the bell. I could have.
Exactly.
But Sal Man would have been too...
On the nose?
I'm too lazy. That's too lazy. I can't.
Yeah.
Maybe he was Sal Man the first time it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? But that kind of stuff can be important. You know, we talk about these spirit quests and the atonement, and it should be equal to the crime, whatever the crime is. And again, should be able... Yes. Did I jump too far?
Sort of like the whole equal... No. It was a little example for the equal to the crime. Was what's called in my old Wild West game. One of the players had offended a spirit of a dove while somebody was learning the gift Mercy.
Ooh.
By offending it, it was only like a little gaffling. All that happened was he got cursed for 3 days. He rolled one less die for anything violence. And the way he offended it was, hey, congratulations, you finished your quest, child guy. I'm teaching you this gift. Why did you kill the rabbit, random get a Fenris, that I had this person bring me? Like, you didn't even wait for me to leave before you killed the rabbit.
And he was learning the gift Mercy?
No, the child of Gaia he was helping hunt the rabbit was learning the gift Mercy.
Oh.
Because the whole little quest was, go get me the rabbit, and I'll teach you Mercy. The child of Gaia made the right assumption of it wanted the rabbit alive.
Which I love about this, because it's clearly not malicious. Because you're hunting a rabbit. How else would you... What else would we be doing here?
Right.
Is probably what's going through the Get of Fenris's head, not realizing, and probably not being a Theurge, that you're dealing with a predominantly, like, a super peaceful spirit.
Yeah.
And that's a great example, too.
He got a little peck, he got a little curse, he didn't have to do much to work it off. It was just 3 days, you're a little sluggish.
And that's a great example, because it's an example of unintentionally offending a spirit, which can happen. And I think another curse, and again, you brought it up, so I get to talk about it, is grain. We said like 5 times, my eyes are up here. We've said it like 5 fucking times, I'm sorry. But what had happened in some of my games was the Silent Strider, Segment Rainmaker, just had a problem not checking her out. All right.
Yep.
She's described as a very attractive woman. You see the picture. They're just hanging there. He couldn't help himself. So she gets offended and curses him that he can't drink any grain alcohol.
Which is almost all of them.
Right.
Like physically, or like he vomits when he does, or...
No one has ever asked that question.
I don't think Suckman has asked that question. Suckman's not willing
Yeah,
to...
well, he was my NPC/character, so the deal was, we just never, it was a quirk, so I never had to deal with it practically in game. I love that. And I guess that would have, I think it would have even fluctuated, because the running gag was, it's been like 5 years, because every time he goes to try to make things right with her, he fucks up again. He just can't help himself. Like, it started with, you can't finish a beer.
Right.
So he'd leave, the last sip. And then it's just escalated over time. Because every time he'd be like, I'm so sorry, Grain. And I am here to make amends and boobies. I mean...
I'm here to... what was I saying?
Exactly. He's poor bastard can't
like
catch
a
a break.
terrible hangover, even if he gets one sip, or...
Yeah.
Or just looking at it for long enough.
Right? And then, it got to the point where, maybe he'll just get violently ill if he drinks any. Because he can't stop offending the spirit. So it can escalate like that, too.
I love that.
Yeah, I just felt like that was an important question.
No, that was a great question. And again, that had never come up before. So thank you for asking it.
Yeah. I'm curious why that never came up.
Well, I mean, I guess the
It's like
era
the
he
first
was
thing that
played
popped in
in.
my head. Oh, that's fair.
The era makes sense.
Yeah. Because, Sekhmet, that was early high school?
Fair.
Maybe late junior high, that era. Mm-hmm. And again, my character, on the occasions I was able to play.
Right, and not story, right.
Right. So him being a noted messenger of the Silent Striders was an easy way to write him off when I was storytelling, and for him to return when I got to play. So that was kind of how we did that. Never play your character with the group as a storyteller. Don't do that.
No, because then it makes you make that all about yourself.
Well, and even if you don't, the players do. Because they know you know the answer.
Yeah.
So everyone will just go, I don't know.
What's Sekhmet think?
Yeah, what does Sekhmet think? And only Sekhmet.
Yeah. It's a problem in any tabletop.
Yeah,
really.
door number 1 or
There's
door
a
number
reason
3,
why-
Sekhmet.
Yeah, there's a reason why if you ever talk to anybody who ever talks about D&D, if you mention a DMPC, it immediately elicits like a almost visceral reaction.
Yep. No, I totally get it. And I mean, I learned that doing it. And then there's situations, and I've done this before, and you guys might see this. I mean, you guys have seen this as well. When the NPC has to be with you guys, they're off doing something else.
Yeah, because you don't want them to make the decision. You want us to make the decision.
Exactly. This is your story. He's got your back in ways that you're not able to see or interact with because it's your story, not his.
And it's got to be the same with those
He's
totems.
just off screen.
Or the spirits, too. Right? It's got to be.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about, appeasing spirits, a little bit about what happens if you break one of these deals or piss them off. What kind of reasons are we interacting with spirits, says Guru?
Well, that's a great question, Em. So it's almost like it should be part of the show. That's good. No, I mean, no, again, great.
That's more of bringing the relationship between the Garu themselves and the spirits closer together.
But another way you could look at it is it helps like define the start of that relationship. Like if you're calling a spirit or looking for a spirit to learn a gift, you might talk to the spirit multiple times eventually, but there's a good chance this is going to be a one and done kind of deal. So while, yes, you got to be respectful to the spirit, yes, you got to make sure you don't piss it off or you don't accidentally offend it, you probably have a little bit more leeway there than if you're trying to make a fetish, where you're trying to get a reliable source of information from a particular spirit, or having a spirit do something that's not normally in its wheelhouse.
Right. But also, these are for gifts. Using the spirits for rites is always a strong help. Getting the information's a big time thing. But definitely fetishes. Definitely fetishes.
Well, and I actually I want to spring on that. That's you both brought up fetishes, certainly, because as I think that we already have that episode. Making a fetish is a big deal, and is not a quick process.
No.
So perhaps certainly being in good graces with a spirit before you ask it to give up its freedom is probably going to be your advantage.
I was going to mention that. Like, you can't just ask a random spirit to join, because they're going to say no.
You totally can.
Can.
That happens all the time. But certainly it would be easier if instead of getting a mouse spirit, you went to paws.
Okay. Going that direction. Got it.
Of course, at that point, you have taken a spirit ally off the board.
But is it worth it because of the fetish?
Well, I suppose it depends on
the fetish, yeah.
The fetish, the spirit, the level of power, the use. And hey, maybe your storyteller, maybe he'll play it cute and Paws can talk to the, you know?
Or maybe you're doing all this work to bring Paws up into a certain, Paws isn't just a mouse anymore. You've worked, you've taken Paws under, you've done everything you can to give him that power boost. Maybe when you go to make this fetish, instead of asking Paws, hey, can you get in this fetish? And you have one of your underlings, one of the mice under you. Paws is like a field mouse. Hey, Paws, can you put the good word in with this field mouse for me to get into this fetish?
Let's take a darker turn.
Oh, Jesus. Why?
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Because I like Paws. I like that we've done this. I like when we just create shit and make it kind of canon as we go.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's RAI canon, and I love it. Maybe, you are.
I love Paws.
Right? Maybe you do. You love Paws, and you want him to stay a part of your pack. And, like this is a fetish. And you create this awesome fetish. And you summon Paws, and you go, hey, buddy, good to see you. And he's like, good to see you too, Squeak. And you take a step back, and you go, great owl, here you go.
Oh, fuck, no.
Who swoops down and turns Paws into a twiceborn.
Wow.
Well, that sucks for Paws. Think about the level of sacrifice that is for Owl.
Yep. We're going to force his ass into a fetish now. Thanks, Paws. Owl loves me.
But at the same time...
Wow.
Exactly. You spent this entire time buttering up this mouse. You spent this entire time making it a big fucking deal. To say, hey, Owl, I could get you a rat. I could get you a mouse. I've got you the mouse.
I didn't expect that, and that sounds very Shadow Lord of you.
I reject your hypothesis.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that too.
I cannot hear your racism.
Tribism.
But how about that for an example?
I didn't expect it. But
suck it, Paws. Now he's Skelepaws.
Is Paws happy about being a twiceborn, or is he not?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I don't think Paws gets a say anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Paws.
But now if you ever have to go deal with Mouse...
Yep, you're not going to be...
You're not going to... It's going to be a problem. You might have to do some atonement.
Yep.
Spirit quest.
Yeah.
Probably be pissed about the fetish you forced him into.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you didn't force him in.
And Rat and Owl, they are not buddies.
No, they're not, which is what made that such a fun dot connect for me.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what yeah.
Like, I already love the Twiceborn, and look at what we just made happen.
And for those wondering why, Owl eats Rat's brood. Clearly.
And makes them his own.
Yeah.
Hence the Twiceborn.
So hardcore.
What did you say last, one of the very first times we mentioned that? How can one totem own another totem so hard?
It's a level of domination there that I don't think anyone's prepared for.
And I love the fact that Owl is a wisdom totem and Rat's a war totem. It's one of those, like, hey, look at this. You're all about war. what I can do to your brood.
Yeah.
Maybe think next time.
You have some great warriors. I think I'll convert them.
Oh, or eat them first.
Well, that's how he's converting them.
That's how it works.
So it's the twice born owl. That's the skeleton of the shit that owl eats.
Uh-huh.
I owned you so hard, your fucking remains belong to me now.
But and once again, looking at temperament of spirits, owls are fucking malicious. They are sadistic. This is something right up their alley. There are sometimes owls that will go and hunt rats and everything, and make sure to carry them in their claws, so their head gets cut off halfway back.
Damn.
Just like being bounced in its grip. Not that it like squeezes the head off. Not that it just cuts the head off. But no, so the head has to bounce on that talon until it's eventually severed.
That's just fucking... Yeah. What a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Owl is one of my favorite spirits.
Mine too.
Clearly.
But see,
there's a certain level of respect you have to show them anytime you interact with the spirit of owl.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. And there you go. And while you're on it, there are many different types of owl. The same way that there are, there are different types of several animals. Let's get, come on. So it doesn't hurt to know something about those. Like if you're big into animals, you already have an advantage with that kind of stuff.
But it doesn't have to be animals either.
No, it doesn't, because everything's got a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, if you're big in nature, you have an advantage with those kinds of spirits. If you really enjoy like the city and technology, you can even have an advantage with those kinds of spirits as well.
The electricity, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, how about rage? How about a spirit of rage? What kind of things would I think we know the temperament we're expecting, so I don't think we need to talk about that. But what kind of things do you think we would be dealing with in terms of Chiminich?
Like a bull in a china shop?
A demonstration of rage.
That seems more feasible.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying physically.
Rage spirits. Imagine how many rage spirits that just hang around those fucking rage rooms. People pay to go in and just smash shit.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Imagine setting something up like that where it's just like, it's a moment that you let yourself go off. Always holding back. You're always making sure you have a seal on this. I can imagine in the lead up to dealing with a spirit of rage, like that Chiminich would be either accepting however much rage it's willing to give you and being able to deal with it, or showing you're not afraid to let your own rage go and just take over from it.
Perhaps even, like, this may sound weird, but if you were to destroy something that's meaningful to you for the spirit of rage.
I like that, because I instantly flash to, like, being 12 years old or whatever, and get my ass kicked in Mortal Kombat and throwing the controller. And then instantly...
And now you have a broken controller.
Right, and instantly just, god damn it. That 1 second of destructive, mindless rage just ruined a controller.
And now you have even more rage.
Right.
So, like, if you're maybe needing to make a fetish and you need a spirit of rage to come in, perhaps you have to destroy something that is dearly important for you for him to accept.
I like that in terms of Chiminich and offering. How about now? This isn't as awesome as yours. Like that was a really, that was a really good one. I'm impressed. I was going to offer that this would be one of those spirits that would totally be amicable for a blood sacrifice.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! I like that. Love a good blood sacrifice.
Yep. Like I look at Boar the same way. Boar is a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
For those who haven't paid attention, he's the totem of the Rabies and Chains pack. And so I've always had images of Whiplash kind of doing the same thing. Is when calling Boar, and of course he's not the pack lead or the Theurge, but he is the pack alpha.
Yeah.
So I see him often making blood sacrifices in Boar's name. Because, again, Whiplash is such a believer. Yes. But I have that idea of him keeping his hand cupped and cutting the hand open and just offering it as Boar shows up on the horizon. It comes and laps the blood up.
You can see that. Maybe even spreading some of it across his face. Maybe,
yeah. I just, I've always loved that. I've had that visual forever. Like a good blood sacrifice to a war totem. That seems appropriate always. And a rage
Something
totem, I
else.
think, goes hand in hand. Sorry, go ahead, Em.
Yeah, no, something else for rage, like completely kind of off the wall that I just thought of, eating a habanero pepper, or offering it like a habanero pepper, or like some cayenne pepper.
Also
Like-
appropriate for a pain spirit.
Yeah,
In fact,
exactly.
more
But,
appropriate
like,
for a pain spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, more appropriate for a pain spirit. But I'm like also thinking like whenever you eat something like that, like there is some kind of like there is a large emotions there, not only pain, but like why the fuck did I do that? How is this ever going to leave? Yeah, regret spirit.
Another a similar thing to like the destroying something you love or something you really like. This is where you could have like, you know, if you've got that one person who gets on your nerves all the fucking time or knows how to push your buttons, bringing them out here with you and just have them constantly needling you the entire time you're dealing with the spirits.
I think that is a terrible idea.
What is that like showing me? It's the building the rage to be more on
No,
or
I no.
in tune with the spirit.
I understand the theory.
Yeah.
I think I would even call that, and I don't. Sorry, CJ. I would call that a rookie Theurge mistake, because you're going to get Artie there with you, and he's going to be needling you and pissing you off, and probably you're going to fuck up the ritual a little because you're distracted and mad, and maybe you're going to kill Artie. You are going to turn, he's going to push you too fucking far, especially with the spirit there, who will probably enhance those emotions naturally just by the aura of its existence.
Oh, yeah.
And you will lose your shit in frenzy on Artie, and now look what you have to do. Look at what you're, I don't know, the fucking mission of atonement to Artie's grandpa, the fucking Seth Warder.
True, yeah.
Again, I love it on paper.
Yeah.
But I see that being a terrible idea in practice.
Yeah, agreed.
Or how about that diehard sports fan, but his team
Bruce Willis?
Sure, but his team keeps losing that year. So
I know what you're doing.
You know what? You know what, Danny?
what's that?
A small little into it in like preparation to dealing with this spirit. Have like one of the like if you ever watch this team and they have one of the biggest games, they just choke it away. Make sure to have that thing recorded and on tape. And in preparation to dealing with this spirit, spend some time and watch that again.
Can see that, yeah.
It's actually what they call
While
the
you're
Lions
summoning
instead
this.
of the Pride for a few years. The joke.
And I'm just like, my brain is going on rage spirits right now. While you're summoning it, you could be like,
Just like
you
smashing
could
a
be
tree
like
branch.
playing. Well, you could be like playing like music that like amps you up, like loud drums,
Chubbawamba.
metals. Yeah, something to like kind of like get that emotion of rage coming in as well when you're doing like the summons. That could be
Cheeseburger in
kind of
Paradise?
interesting.
I mean, you could, but because Chubbawamba, because you get up again.
Yeah.
No, that's a great call. And I'm gonna switch it. Well, we've been talking about rage spirit, and I'm glad that we have, right? Because the animal spirits are always so much easier. You want some of those higher concept spirits that are a bit more difficult, and that's good for flexing those Theurge muscles as a storyteller, as a player, to get those ideas out there.
Yeah.
And again, we say to remember that temperament of the spirit, or what we, as a society, perceive, because that's important, right? Like, we say an elephant never forgets. So an elephant spirit will not forget, despite the fact that is not how it works.
Fair.
Right? But it will work as a spirit because of that, right? Because of that old wives' tale.
Right.
But so to move it to the other direction, instead of a spirit of rage, how about a spirit of love?
There's plenty of possibilities and options.
Sure. You could recite a sonnet. A Galliard could play a love song. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Galliard, but if you got a Galliard there, fucking help out, buddy. Jesus. Play a love song.
Write a love letter to like an unrequited like person you love.
Put on a porno.
I don't know about that.
It's a type of love.
I don't think that's the same kind of love.
That is a bonar. There are lots of types of love, and that is a bonar move if I've ever heard one.
What about a sacrifice of a type to show dedication?
Drink a bunch of poison.
Or
very Romeo and Juliet of you.
Yeah, you do with Juliet.
Pull the picture of your mate out of your wallet and offer it to the spirit.
Have your bonar tell them about KT.
She's with this guy, Doug. He doesn't deserve her.
Yeah. How about an offering of box of
chocolates?
Yeah.
Yeah, candles, rose petals.
Little origami Cupid.
Yeah, little bottle of red wine or something.
A fruit basket.
A porno.
Did my first go?
No, that's... I'm going to die on the hill of that's desire, not love.
What if it's your favorite porno?
That taste.
Again,
I love
desire.
this one.
I love this one.
I love this scene.
She does this thing, right? It's my favorite part. Watch.
Desire.
See, I will die. It's a type of love. I will die on the hill of a bonar or two. Totally doing that. Maybe a glass water as well. That's not a red talon maneuver, but it's a city wolf maneuver
or wolf maneuver.
You can still be a scumbag and be. It's not.
Like if you had like a very bad breakup or maybe something in the past, going and rekindling that, apologizing or something to show your devotion to the spirit of love. Well,
I wonder if that might be the wrong way to go. I make my porno joke, but because that's more of a selfish means. But what if instead it is to rekindle someone else's?
Ooh, I like it.
I was going to say you could cry over it and sacrifice the tears, but again, that would probably be more of a selfish thing.
Well, maybe. I think context matters there. Siege?
Yeah, but if you're a Theurge with like your weird shed of reagents, tears of somebody who lost a loved one.
There you go.
Legitimate tears, like your character from Strides games, like when their grandpa died.
That's good.
Oh fuck, that actually came up with one of the spirits as like a oh god. So I ended up making a fetish, and I needed a spirit of fire, and he requested that I burn the last picture I had of me and my grandfather together, because fire and passion and loss and it was so rough.
That's fucking hats off. That's nice.
Damn.
Strides over here.
Well played,
hitting the strings.
Right? Well played, sir.
And it was a cool fetish, and I ended up gifting the fetish to somebody in my pack. It wasn't even a fetish for me, but
You also have to deal with like potentially like stuff you could draw from is like the type of love, because I know in like Greek philosophy there's a bunch of different types, everything from like actual romantic, sexual, brotherly.
Oh yeah.
Like playing into those.
Absolutely, I like that.
See, and I will unfortunately have to say, as much as I love where we're going with this, and I love this topic and the show while we're at, it is unfortunately about that time.
We could go on for a very long time with these.
We could, but we also can't.
Yes,
and that's the problem
today.
But that said, suffice it to say, spirit relations is extremely important. And I mean, of course, we have not touched on everything even a little bit.
Oh no, we have other practical Theurges to do.
We certainly do. I know. I believe the next one we're doing comes straight from M's playbook, and we're going to be talking about Sept living.
Yeah.
Ooh. Through the Theurge
I think this one was from my playbook too, but that's okay.
It was partially from your playbook.
Yeah, and a lot from you too. Don't worry.
Jeez. You've heard me give credit to like 4 people this episode, including you.
You know me. Like CJ said, I'm pulling a Wendigo.
So there you go.
Evolving.
Well, make sure you go catch them all, everybody. No, on behalf of everyone here at Scratchable Studios, we want to thank you so much for listening. And, we're so grateful for you. We hope you tune in next time. And remember, really, to take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We're all in this together, and life can get hard. So let's do our best to treat each other well. We'll see you next time.
Rage across the internet.
.com.
.com.
.com.